I think the Mario Bros are better off with this Maverick. I really wish they gave the Mavericks in this game more thought. "2018 was a massive year for me getting into the Mega Man series, not just the classic series, but the X series as well, and they ranged from freaking awesome to freaking rubbish, and which you could also apply to the Mavericks, this series equivalent of the Robot Masters, and in this video I'll be dealing with the latter. I'll be using the same criteria as the Robot Masters, their concept, their design, their stage, their fight, and their weapons. I'll be speaking more positively on another list, but for now, let's get this over with. Megaman X4, I love your Mavericks. You got a street fighting dragon, and now that's also a commander, an awesome looking lion, which really makes a derpy looking mushroom stick out like a soft bum. But unfortunately, the problems with this guy don't just stop at the design. His battle is also not that great. It starts out fine with you dodging his soul bodies, but then he'll start ripping off Gemini Man, and the real one speeds up as he takes damage, making it tricky not to take a hit. It's not all bad though. His stage is loads of fun, with well done level design and enemy placement, other than these staircases, and the weapons aren't too bad either. I don't really find much use for the soul body, but I love the technique Zero gets. He gets a double jump and a rolling slash, and it was a blast to use. I use this technique all the time, which is why he's at the bottom of the list, but when compared to the rest of the roster, he really sticks out for the wrong reasons. I think the Mario Bros are better off with this Maverick. In the last year, no game surprised me as much as X3 did. However, not everything about this game was a pleasant surprise. Right, Blizzard Buffalo? So where does this Maverick go wrong? Well, firstly, his stage is kind of annoying. It's an ice level, and the ice physics can really be a pain, especially on those deceptively slippery slopes and with the enemies everywhere. It can be a nightmare not to take a hit, especially in the last section. Also, getting that leg upgrade can seriously screw off. At least his fight isn't terrible. It's boring, yes, but it's nothing to rage over. He'll try and ram you, shoot ice at you, and attempt to freeze you. This fight really isn't anything special. However, it doesn't really feel satisfying to take the guy out, probably because his weapon is kind of useless. The wrongly named Frost Shield is a slow starter, so you're better off using one of the other weapons in the game. Come to think of it, I don't think I ever used this weapon outside of Toxic Seahorse, but from this point onwards, this is where the Mavericks get really bad. Whilst I personally really enjoy X2, I can't say this Maverick lineup is very good, and this definitely shows with the next entry. Whilst I will admit that he looks awesome, and that his weapon is a beast against grounded enemies, especially on these scorpions, his stage is kind of just okay. There's not really much memorable about this stage other than the scrolling background on these platforms. Honestly, the best thing about this stage is that he's good for filling up sub-tanks, but what really got him on the list is his boss fight. He'll shoot out spike wheels your way and attempt to pounce at you, which is extremely agonizing dodge unless you're in one of the top corners. When he gets low in health, he'll also try and make some of the walls hazardous and even eat up your shots and send them right back at you. However, the thing that annoys me about this fight is the length. Because he spends like 80% of the fight submerged in the mud where you can't hit him, this boss can take like minutes to kill. Most Mavericks you can clear in less than 20 seconds with the weakness. Here, it takes me 3 minutes. This is one of only 3 instances where I use the weakness on the first fight round. Otherwise, it'd take even longer than it already does. And now an entry from the original Megaman X. Whilst I'm not into this roster as much as others, there was only one Maverick I could really consider bad, and that was... It's a shame too because this guy has an awesome design. Chameleons are cool and they really went all the way with this guy. Not to mention his weapon, with an incredibly creative name, has great range and it makes you invincible when charged. Like seriously, that was really useful in the Sigma stages. But that's all the praise I can really give to this guy. His stage takes place in the jungle and it's pretty boring. The only section that was interesting was the cave section with the blocks trying to give you concussion. But if you take out the mini boss, which you'll probably want to do for the armor upgrade, there's just a couple of enemies. Even flooding the stage after being launched Octopus does almost nothing other than allowing you access to the heart tank, which is down this hole. How was I supposed to know that? But similarly to Wheel Gator, his fight is why he's on here. He'll constantly fade in and out of the arena, making it tricky to land a hit on him, and he'll only be available here when he's using one of his annoying attacks, like that fast tongue lash that really hurts, and when he drops spikes on the ceiling, which I swear is almost luck-based to avoid. He also has the ability to send a spread shot, which can be annoying to dodge because the ceiling also hurts you. Like Wheel Gator, this is a fight where I'd rather just use the weakness and get it over with. Megaman X8. There was quite a few things I liked about this game, but there was also a lot of things I didn't like. And whilst this Maverick lineup isn't one of the strongest, I wouldn't go as far as to say it's horrible, unless it's Optic Sunflower. My first problem with this twat is that he's a freaking sunflower with arms and legs. Secondly, his stage is boring. It's nothing more than discount Mario Pie. The trial rooms range from boring to frustrating, and that also applies to the rooms between them. Then there's his fight, which has one of the biggest difficult fights within the fight. It starts out easy because the only way he can damage you is with the lasers he shoots that don't go through the platforms. But when he hits half health, he'll start firing out more lasers, and that Giga Crush can seriously screw off. And whilst X and Axel's rewards are decent enough, X's weapon is extremely inaccurate and you're better off with any other weapon. I don't understand why a sunflower was used as a Maverick. Did they not learn anything from Plant Man? There was so much potential for some awesome Mavericks in X2, but no, it got wasted on a freaking sponge made of wires and a goddamn snail. And this guy combines that stupid idea with an annoying as hell fight. Today would be nice, please. At least getting to the fight is fun. The stage looks and sounds nice, and messing with the slopes on the ride armor was a lot of fun. But his battle is anything but fun without his weakness. What do snails have? A hard shell. And that'll make you want to go to a French restaurant because he'll constantly duck into a shell when you try and shoot him. And he's immune to damage whilst inside his shell. And when he's spending like 20 seconds charging towards you in his shell, this fight can take a while. And if you get hit by one of his crystal shots, that's pretty much a guaranteed hit. So you need to time your shots well or use the weakness. You're better off doing the latter. This ain't the last time we'll be seeing a defensive shell, by the way. And that weapon is pretty worthless outside of making a couple of platforms in the hood stages and overdrive ostrich, because it doesn't kill anything else. I really wish they gave the Mavericks in this game more thought. Megaman X6. What can I say about this game? The production values are trash, the levels are trash, the bosses are trash, and the Mavericks are trash, including this turtle on robot steroids. Okay, in all seriousness, this guy does look pretty intimidating, but his fight is a massive pain in the bum. The tons of missiles and his attempts to tackle you are, dare I say, a nightmare to dodge. And his tackling gets even worse when he gets low on health, as he'll send water blobs everywhere which are near impossible to avoid. And you can't even deal damage to him until, well, if you can see his shell, you know what you have to do. And what do you get for all of that? A bubble of water that just bounces up and down? Worthless, in X's case. I won't lie though, Zero's technique is kind of hilarious. But it wasn't worth going through that painful fight, which was a pain to get to because of the acid rain draining your health during the stage. Now, Mavericks based on sea creatures aren't always a bad idea. We'll be seeing more of that in the next video. But some of these aquatic Mavericks, especially in the later half of the series, were really questionable ideas, which we'll see more of in this video. Like seriously, a clam? I'll admit his stage isn't too bad, if you're just going for him, but the lasers are annoying to deal with, hit like tanks, and I still don't know how the laser shoots change their direction. Also, if you don't like flashing lights, well the game basically goes F you, and you'll need to deal with all those lasers if you want the armor piece, which is behind this fake wall. Thanks game! His fight is also a massive pain. Remember the shell from Crystal Snail? Now imagine that on both sides. The only time he's ever his way chucks his shell, which is easy to dodge, and at half health, he'll create a shield that's annoying to get through and retaliates with shots. Finally, his weapon sucks. It's supposed to block projectiles and retaliate with shots, but most of the time, it never seems to want to work for me. Remember when I said Sting Chameleon and Wheel Gale were two of 3 instances where I used the weakness first time round? You can probably guess who the third guy is. Megaman X4 is amazing. To have the next game in the series drop so much in quality is beyond me. Outside of Shining Firefly, the levels and bosses were just frustrating to deal with, and one of the worst defenders is the robotic blooper on steroids. Sure, his design is cool, but there are 2 major problems with this guy. For one, his stage is one of the most infuriating in the series. Thanks for the surprise pick, game. This opening ride chasing segment can go to hell. It's trial and error bollocks throughout the whole sequence, especially if you're trying to get the blue orbs to collect the armor piece. Then there's the second half where you need to connect switches to open the doors. However, the rooms are often filled with obstacles, and when there's 2 switches on the opposite side of the room, you'll be constantly going back and forth as they disconnect after a short while. And whilst this fight isn't as bad as the stage, it's still bad. We'll fire electricity at you non-stop, electrify the floor so you're stuck on the walls, and create blocks in the arena, some of which can hurt you. All the while, he's constantly pestering you, so you need to hope that you can deal enough damage to him before he can deal too much damage to you. At the very least, his weapons are good. X basically gets the elect beam that can also travel along walls, perfect for enemies on them, and Zero gets a nice uppercut. However, that's far from enough to redeem the pain of getting those weapons. So this is the worst X5 has to offer. This could have been an amazing finale to the X series. In fact, it really should have been a finale. But no, instead we get a Maverick like this. A whale may not be a bad idea for a Maverick, but his stage is one of the longest, tedious, and most boring stages in the series. Why? Because it's an auto-scroller. 80% of this stage is you going at a snail's pace fighting off this submarine, which you fight a total of 3 times. The only other part of this stage is this shipwreck, which is pretty forgetful apart from the armor upgrade, of which you need to play the stage twice because you need the weapon this Maverick gives you. Oh, and those weapons? Worthless. X gets the goo shaver, which is mediocre at best, while Zero gets an air dash that actually hurts me more than it helps. The fight itself for the first 2/3 of his fight had an interesting concept, but the blocks move really slowly, and his goo shaver is really easy to jump over. Not to mention that he leaves himself wide open, but the reason he's this high is because of how the battle plays out when he's down to his last third. At this point he'll switch sides, and the blocks come out at an increased rate, which wouldn't be too bad if it wasn't the fact that there are insta-kill spikes on the other side. There have been so many times where I try and get out of the way, but I have to wall jump, which puts you closer to the spikes. So you're basically hoping you can get him before you screw up just once. There's been so many times where I just mess up once and get killed. There's only one Maverick who I can think of that's worse than this. But before that, here's some dishonorable mentions. Why a sponge? What the f is that design? Gravity Beetle, annoying fight and useless weapon. Crescent Grizzly, easy fight and X's weapon direction is random. Blaze Heatniks, have fun fighting this mess of pixels 5 times. And Infinity Maginian, that fight is a cluster. A word you could have easily used to describe any of these previous Mavericks is shit. However, number 1 literally is shit. No, seriously, it's based on a dung beetle. And what do? Eat shit. But he wouldn't be number 1 if it was just for his idea. His stage is also a massive pain. It takes place in a museum that has nothing in it other than these tone balls that send you to another room, which is chosen at random. So if you want the heart tank and the armor upgrade, well, good luck. Literally. And it's not like any of the rooms are fun to go through. All they consist of is tons of enemies and heaps of shit all over you. And even worse, one of the random rooms have a path that normal X cannot pass. No, that's some of the worst level design I've ever seen. And after spending 30 minutes getting the upgrades, no, seriously, that actually happened to me, you get to the easiest Maverick fight in the entire series. His only attacks are doing his own business and firing easy to dodge sparks. And half the time, I don't even think he knows I'm here. Finally, his weapons are appropriately shit. The false advertisement ground dash is a slow moving boulder that's only good for taking out some boxes and some bosses, while Zero gets the ability to dive in an awkward angle which can't be interrupted. Ground scavenge is everything wrong with the Mavericks in X6. A terrible idea, an awful design, an annoying stage, a fight that barely qualifies as a fight, a useless weapon, and an overall massive sense of what the hell were they thinking. This has been Speed Inkling, and if you'd like to check out my favourite Mavericks, you can do so right here once it's up, or alternatively, there's my least favourite Robot Masters as well if you're into the classic series. Either way, thanks for watching, and stay awesome.